Jonathan Grossman.
Good evening, Jonathan Grossman, 83 Varnum Ave. Thanks for the opportunity to speak. People who work for nonprofit organizations are workers just like everyone else. Yes, they work for an organization with a public mission. And yes, they work for an organization that may have a limited budget. And no, they don't expect to make big bucks by working there. But that does not mean they don't have to make a living. It doesn't mean that they don't want to be able to spend time with their families because they have to work 2 or 3 jobs to get by. It doesn't mean that they don't want to have some kind of say about what happens to them at work. All workers want that. People who work for nonprofits are no different. The folks at LTC, the people behind the cameras, haven't had a raise in 2 years, despite the inflation. They felt they needed a union and they organized one. That's not an easy thing to do. People don't do that unless they have a reason. So it's time for the LTC management to negotiate in good faith. The workers deserve a living wage. They deserve the right to have a union. They now have a union, and they deserve the typical security protections to maintain it, as almost all workers with unions have in this country. They deserve to be able to negotiate in good faith with their employer. We're not asking this city to tell LTC exactly what to do. But I think the government of the city should reflect the working people in this city and understand that in that situation, every worker would want what the LTC workers want. I want to thank Councilor Noon for making this motion and urge the council to support it. Thank you.
Jeff Thomas.
Jeff Thomas, 76 Bowden Street, Lowell, Mass. Union member, different union member from a different union, but I love me a good union battle. They're not asking the city council to vote this up, down, good, bad, indifferent. They're asking for support from you guys, whether it's a clap, a handshake, whatever it may be. They're not asking you to tell LTC to vote or come to agreement with them. They're not asking that. They're asking for support. That's all they're asking for. So I don't know where there's some issue. I'm aware that, Lowell funds LTC. That's great. That's awesome. I watch this mainly on TV, so I love it. But when workers from a small, as Mr. McHugh stated, small telecommunication company that it's very rare that you see them unionize, this is discouraging these companies and these workers to unionize. And you have the right to unionize in this country. Unfortunately, people don't see that and people don't know that. But I'm give these guys a whole bunch of courage and support as much as I possibly can to make this happen for them. Yeah, it's their first contract. It's very, very difficult, the first contract. It is. But they're only asking for support. They're not asking you to tell them to do this or tell them to do that. They just want support. There's other union members that sit on this council from other unions. I don't know, I haven't spoken to them directly, but I know they're union members. Do they support another union? Do they support another union member? Well, they should. We should all come in solidarity as union members and stand up for what's right for the workers that have formed a union in this city, especially this hard-working city where the workers are all about the work. These guys deserve a fair living wage, closed shops, whatever it may be that's on the table. They should be allowed to have that. These guys are doing great. They figured out all the kinks and the freezes and all the stuff that goes on TV. It all works now. I don't know what they've done, but these guys are the guys that have done it. So fix it. Let's get these guys a contract. And I don't know if I can say this or not, but I'm going to appoint the rest of my 3 minutes for 412 that I'm not going to speak on now because my voice was taken from that, and I'll point that 3 minutes to Mr. McHugh to negotiate with the workers for 3 more minutes. Thank you.
Najifa Tanjim.
Good evening, everyone. I am Najifa Tanjim, a resident of 780 Broadway Street. I am speaking on Motion 4.7 and in solidarity with the Lowell Telemedia Center staff members who have been negotiating for a fair contract for more than a year. As a resident of Lowell, I have seen firsthand the incredible contributions the LTC staff members make to the local community. They empower the community by creating a platform for members coming from marginalized backgrounds and provide them with media production tools and resources. Through such significant work, LTC staff members help Lowellians amplify their voice, which is fundamental to establishing media democracy and citizens journalism. I personally have learned the basics of media production from them, ranging from how to operate a camera to how to run studio productions. As a woman of color, learning media production from LTC staff members was significant to me as it provided me with the tools to amplify my voice and advocate for my rights through media production. I have seen the LTC staff members covering social justice-related events at the University of Massachusetts Lowell, which helps uplift the messages and values of justice and equity among communities. I have also witnessed them covering the Lowell Folk Festival every year and help uplift the diverse arts and culture in Lowell through media production. LTC staff members also cover Lowell City Council events, which helps the community to stay updated on local politics. Given such incredible services that LTC staff members give to the community, it is extremely concerning to me that they do not earn a livable wage. It is an issue of basic human rights. As hard-working members of the community, LTC staff members deserve a livable wage and a fair contract. They should not struggle to afford the skyrocketing cost of housing and basic necessities. Their labor runs LTC, and they should be paid a livable wage for their labor. I would also propose a question for us to think. Why does no staff members at LTC make a livable wage except the executive director of LTC? Lowell's history is one of labor history. Upholding the values of Lowell's rich labor history that made revolutionary improvements to workers' rights, I urge the Lowell City Council to support LTC staff members. Thank you for listening.
Paul Gaudette.
Good evening. My name is Paul Gaudette. I live at 4 Bertram Street in Lowell. I speak this evening as the board president of Merrimack Valley Project and as acting chair of our Lowell chapter. Merrimack Valley Project organizes faith communities, labor unions, and community organizations to work for social justice in our community. In this capacity, we support Councilor Noon's motion for the council to go on record calling on LTC management to bargain in good faith with its workers, who are calling for the security of a negotiated contract that will provide union protections under federal and Massachusetts laws. LTC's workers are highly skilled professionals who deserve the respect and the pay package that is commensurate with their talents. The telecommunications space is a public good, and Lowell is fortunate to have such a high-quality operation serving our citizens. But it is the duty of government to prevent the exploitation of workers through our laws, our institutions, and our regulations. This is your role as our council. to speak up when there is harm in our community. Please add your collective votes in support of the LTC employees for a living wage, respect for workers, and job security through a union contract. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, first I'd like to thank everyone who came down and spoke on this tonight. I know we have LTC staff members here, we have LTC management here, we have LTC board members here, we have union representation here. Everyone's here because they're very passionate about this. They're passionate about the work that LTC does. They're passionate about what it means to the community to have an organization like LTC operating here in the city of Lowell. I really appreciate all the work that people have put in so far to get to the point where we are. But, you know, getting across the finish line is going to take more work, and it's going to take more time at that table. So, you know, I just would like to encourage everyone to try and get back to the table as soon as possible so that this can be worked through. I grew up, my dad was a union guy in a couple different unions. Through some different work that he had done. And so I know the value of growing up in a union household and what that brings to the table. So I just want to say that I appreciate the work that everyone's doing to get this across the finish line, and I hope to hear that everyone's meeting at a table to move this forward as soon as possible. And I look forward to when we can celebrate a contract being accepted and agreed to and in place, and being the foundation for LTC for years to come. So thank you, everyone.
By Councilor Noon, second by Councilor Garcia. Roll call.
After 40. Council Mercia.
Absolutely, yes.
Council Noon.
Yes.
Council Robinson.
Yes.
Mayor Rourke.
Yes.
Council Scott.
Yes.
Council Yem.
Yes.
Council Chow.
Yes.
Council Dakota.
Yes.
Council Getchia.
Yes.
Council Janess.
Yes.